How much money do you make?
So right now our portfolio does about 500 to 600K a month across 4 different businesses with a clear path to get to $1 million a month by the end of the year.
And how old are you?
I just turned 28.
That's impressive, man. So what do you do?
Well, 2 years ago, almost to the day, I was working full-time on Wall Street as a hedge fund trader. Now I run a portfolio of writing businesses that hopefully, like I said, can get to $1 million a month by the end of the year.
So you worked on Wall Street.
I did.
Like, what were you doing?
I was a hedge fund trader for BlackRock. So
For BlackRock?
For BlackRock.
Dude, BlackRock always sounds like some mysterious evil company.
No,
What was that like?
So I was a math and computer science major in college. Loved math growing up, very analytical thinker. And that was kind of the dream job that I was groomed. It was the only job interview I've ever had. So I interned there going into my junior year of college and senior year, and then worked on Wall Street for 4 years in New York City right when I graduated. That was what I thought I wanted to do for the rest of my life. Quickly found out that right when I got there, this was not something that if I doubled my effort, I'd make twice as much money or learn twice as much. And as someone who I've lived like a pretty obsessive life growing up where I find something and I really want to pour all my heart into it, all my heart, all my effort, I realized that I didn't have uncapped upside there. So I kind of freaked out a year in saying, I need something where I have full control over the output in some way if I work harder. Yeah. And I just hated being told what to do. Like after I'd have a ton of excitement to do something and start working on it myself. And then one of my bosses came to me and said, go do this thing. I'd immediately lose interest in it. So I just recognized more entrepreneurial at heart. This is good. Not something I'm going to quit right away, but knew I wasn't going to do it for 50 years.
So how'd you stumble into writing after this?
So I recognized that I did not want to quit this job immediately, but I needed to find a way to passively pursue other opportunities. So rather than quit and go operate from a place of scarcity where I got to go figure out how to make money, it was, I'm just going to start to put ideas out there and see what types of opportunities start to find me. The real reason I saw writing was within BlackRock, there was a ton of high-level people who'd write these really in-depth emails that would break down their views on the market and what they thought. So I said, wow, okay, if I want to have new opportunities within the firm, this was before I realized I wanted to quit, I would start my own newsletter. So I started an internal newsletter where I would summarize what was happening in the market. I'd link to some podcasts that I was listening to learn. And I had a couple hundred people reading that. And then just like that, I was 23 in the firm and had some of the highest up people reading that and enjoying it. So it clicked in my head of, okay, if you want to unlock new opportunities, put yourself out there in some way. Then I had the full experience of not wanting to do this for the rest of my life. So I abstracted that to, okay, if I've attracted all these opportunities within, why don't I just apply the same thinking and write a public newsletter? But I was terrified to write about anything financial markets related because I thought like conflict of interest, and I was probably right. I shouldn't do anything like that. So I just wrote a personal newsletter breaking down everything I read and learned that week. And that started in January of 2020. And I committed to write a newsletter every week for 52 weeks, thinking worst case, I better understood the ideas I talked about and shared. Best case, which is exactly what happened, my entire life trajectory could change.
Nice. So was this something that you were making money on immediately, or was it just something that you were trying to build up, get experience?
No.
And like, did you at least have the thought that this could turn into a money-making engine?
I did not have the plan to do that. I figured it was going to lead me to opportunities that would make money, not monetize the writing directly.
Like the people that were reading it.
Exactly. And that's exactly what happened, right? So I wrote a newsletter every week for 40 weeks. This was September of 2020. Okay. Now, luckily, in March of 2020, the world shut down. So I went from having to work in an office to working remotely. That opened up a lot of time where I realized a lot of the finance work is made up. If you don't have someone looking over your shoulder, looking at which Excel sheet you have going on, you're like, okay, I could probably work for about 2 or 3 hours a day. So I got sent home, began working from home from a house in Tampa, realized, okay, don't want to do this job forever, especially don't want to go back into the office after having this freedom being back in Florida during the winter. I'm like, okay, great. Then said, I'm going to just start putting this newsletter out there. I did that for 40 weeks, got to September, had like 400 subscribers, and I think I signed up half of them myself.
Nice.
Not nice. 400 subscribers after 40 weeks. I'm like, I felt like I was chewing glass.
Not nice.
And so I got there and said, is this what I want to do? Is this going to be my ticket out? And around late 2020, there was like inklings of they might try to take us back into the office in 2021. I just did not want to do that. So I said, okay, I'm going to give this writing thing 30 more days. But rather than write a newsletter and a blog that no one is reading, I'm going to write on social media and bring my writing to Twitter. And rather than write once a month or once a week, I'm going to write every day for 30 days. So I did that. And I committed to writing a Twitter thread back when it was still called Twitter, every day for a month, summarizing a podcast that I listened to that morning. So I had a nice routine where I'd wake up, listen to a podcast, go to work all day, and then finish the day writing up a thread with what I learned. So again, there was no downside to this. I was going to do that work anyway, but it had exponential upside. Day 28 comes, kind of humming along. I had a couple mini viral, people are interested in it. And day 28 happens. I hit publish, no likes, no retweets, no comments. It's like I didn't even exist. So I said, okay, this is it. I'm giving up this writing thing entirely. Wasn't going to quit. Said, I'll give it 2 more days and commit to getting all 30 out. So day 29, woke up, wrote it. I thought I did a pretty good job on it, but I didn't have high expectations. Hit publish, went to sleep. Woke up the next day. It had 4,000 or 5,000 likes. Naval had retweeted it. Balaji Srinivasan.
That's like really quality people.
Some interesting people that I definitely looked up to at the time. And I plugged my newsletter at the bottom of it. I had 400 subscribers when I went to bed and almost 1,000 when I woke up the next day. So I said, it took me 9 months to get to 400 and 9 more hours to get to 1,000. And that taught me a couple things. One, I never knew what was going to go viral. So I just had to keep publishing. And 2, there's clearly something to this write in public every day for 30 days challenge. So where I was at this point, it's November 2020, and I started to have a little bit of success writing on Twitter. What happened, which was my initial reason for doing any of this, was someone came to me and said, hey, I've really enjoyed the threads you've been writing. Could you write one for me? And I said, write one for you, like pay to do that? He's like, yeah, I'll pay you whatever you want, or pay you X amount. You just name the price and you could write one for me. And I said, shit, I don't know what to charge. So I was going to ask for $500. But I said, I'm not even going to say it because I don't want to ask for too much money that he might say no. So I said, okay, I'll do this free. You just tell me how much value it creates for you. Then I worked all weekend, put together this really nice thread it actually wasn't even a thread. It was like a summary of the way he saw the world, which is kind of what I became known for with my content. I was just summarizing the main top ideas of a bunch of prolific thinkers.
How did you get that information?
I would just listen to 5 podcasts.
Of his?
Of whoever I was studying at the time.
Gotcha.
So he saw those public breakdowns and then asked me to do one in private for him. So I just went on YouTube, found all his podcasts, all his TED Talks, all his, teachings and writings, and said, okay, I'm going to make an outline for a book that you could write. So I did that for 3 nights, worked 12 hours a day to do it, put together something really high quality and sent it to him. And then said, hey, here it is. Let me know what you think. He sent back, dude, this is amazing. I can't thank you enough. All this knowledge has been so all over the place. How much do I pay you? And I go, look, again, I don't know, but just pay me whatever you thought it was worth to you. So he put me in touch with his assistant, and it's so fun to relive the story. He put me in touch with his assistant, who goes, hey, could you tell me where we can send your payment? He wants to, compensate you. I said, great. Here's my Venmo. I didn't have any way to accept payments because I was like, I've never made any money on the internet before. She comes back to me and goes, the amount we're trying to send you is higher than the Venmo daily limit. Could you send us something else? So I'm like, Google, what's the Venmo daily limit? It's $1,000. I'm like, shoot, I'm going to make 1,000. And granted, I was making a high salary on Wall Street. My all-in pay was going to be $200,000 in that year.
Yeah.
But I wasn't working for myself. So it was a completely different feeling. So I made a PayPal, sent her the link, and then $5,000 hit my account.
Damn.
And I go, this has to be a typo.
How many tweets?
So it wasn't a tweet. It was just the full breakdown.
Just one.
The value to them, here's how that conversation went. Hey, name, how much should we pay Dickie for writing that? Oh, $5,000. Back to what I was doing. And that's how I think about, that's how he thought about $5,000. So that broke my brain about what was possible on the internet. So we're sitting there, November 2020. That was the first dollar I'd made from writing in any way. And it was stumbling into the world of ghostwriting. I didn't even know it was called ghostwriting at the time.
Yeah.
But that was what I did originally. So it took me 9 months, built that up to about $10,000 a month from there. And then we can go into the next steps of the journey. But that was the first dollar.
Did that, your first client have a engine to profit off that tweet?
Oh yeah.
Was it
it wasn't a tweet. So he,
oh, sorry.
Yeah, it was a full, think about if you came to me and was like, could you write an outline of a book that I could publish based on my ideas that I put all over the internet?
Yeah.
That's what I put together.
And was he like putting it on his website? Or?
Yeah. So he was just going to take all that and then turn it into social media content to build his personal brand.
So it's like a synopsis of who this guy is,
Exactly,
what he's all about.
right? So he kind of got to a point of like, I don't really know what is going to be valuable to people. Like I was like his target audience. So that was why it was valuable. It's like, here's all the things I'd like you to go and talk more about.
So you could add like interesting insights too.
Right. And then he said, this is amazing. Started to introduce me to his friends. And I had like a side hustle now that was making about $5,000 to $10,000 a month that all came on the back of writing. So it proved my assumption correct of learn to write. It's going to attract opportunities. And the fastest way that I can look back in hindsight, I can only look back in hindsight now, is monetize as a ghostwriter first, because you don't need a huge audience. Right. You can tap into someone else who has one.
But even then, you were just building an audience in your like community of Wall Street people, right? Or finance people.
No. So my writing was then public on Twitter. So I wasn't writing about finance at all.
Gotcha.
I was writing about like personal growth. So I was on like a general path of personal growth. I played football in college. I weighed 280 pounds.
Damn.
Yeah. So I came a long way. I had to like rewrite my life operating system.
Yeah. Wow.
So I was just learning and on my own path of like personal development and sharing what I was learning along the way. And that's what attracted readers who were on a similar path to me, and eventually attracted my first ghostwriting client.
So was he in? Did he happen to be in the finance
world?
No.
Not in finance at all.
Okay.
So it wasn't even connected. And at the time, no one knew. And it was kind of a little bit of arbitrage because everyone that worked on my team was older. They weren't on Twitter. So I was blowing up on Twitter and they had no clue.
Okay.
Which was nice. And then second, we were remote, and so there wasn't like I could be on Twitter all day writing and no one would see over my shoulder, where I couldn't do that. So I got a little bit lucky there. But that brought us to November of 2020 where, okay, I'm making about 10 grand a month as a ghostwriter. This isn't the most scalable thing, but it's world-class for anyone who's not in a situation they want, who wants to spin up something on the side. I think it's the best way to do it. And it's one of the businesses we have is helping beginners and freelance writers position themselves as ghostwriters, because I think it's the easiest way to get to 5 to 10K a month as a beginner. But
ghostwriting.
Ghostwriting.
Interesting.
Correct. Yes.
Explain that.
So if you are interested in writing at all, you can learn the skills of writing that don't take that long to learn, and then put them into practice as in a service with someone who will see the returns on your own writing.
Right.
So trying to build your own audience takes years, and most people just aren't that interesting enough to actually go build an audience that they could then monetize. Instead, monetizing as a ghostwriter, it's I learn the skills and then I tap into someone like you who has successful businesses, and they come to you and say, hey, I'm going to make sure that you see a tangible return on my writing, and then you can collect a little bit of that. So rather than try to sell a digital product as a writer or write a book from day one, it's how can I just provide a valuable service to someone who's going to receive more value than they pay me.
Yeah, because I spend like all my time, like I script every word of my YouTube videos. And so, but my Twitter is lacking, my LinkedIn is lacking because I don't have the time to like, the formatting is a little different. Like just actually like just change the hook to make it a little more available for written. So you're saying someone would just take my content basically like that, get an idea, or are they actually going to come up with like unique content for me?
A little bit of both. So the biggest thing a ghostwriter is, they're not really, I don't think about social media ghostwriting as ghostwriting. I think that is like a commodity service.
Interesting.
I think about ghostwriting as a business consultant who happens to know how to write.
Okay.
So that's what we help people become. It's like, stop sending cold DMs of like, oh, I'll write 10 tweets for you. It's, hey, I just audited your business landing page. I think you're leaving subscribers on the table here. I think you could reposition your offer here. I specialize in lead generation for people in your industry, and I would do this with an email course. Mind if I send over additional details or something like that?
Okay.
So what is your current monetization vehicle?
So we have a software development agency. We basically partner with large creators and develop software for them.
Okay. So the exact thing a ghostwriter will come to you and say, hey, let's talk about your lead generation strategy. How do I find creators? How do you increase the number of creators who are interested in building a SaaS? Well, they might build you an email course educating creators on why monetizing via SaaS is an underrated thing to do.
Wait, they would build an email course.
So that is our preferred lead generation magnet of educating someone via a 5-day email course that takes them through either steps or mistakes or frameworks or lessons that do a couple things. It trains people to open your emails. Let's go, okay, I'm going to deliver value. It front loads the value in terms of, if someone writes 5 high quality emails to you in the first 5 days of knowing them, your trust goes from 0 to very high very quickly. Versus like VSLs that no one ever watches the whole
100%.
thing of. People just build a little bit of a like trust resonance, I think, with text over video. Like video, it's good for long term, but immediately I'd rather read someone's writing and like say, okay, you've clearly thought through this, and that's what they would come to you and partner with you on.
So a 5 email video course. So it's basically
5 email text.
Sorry, text course. My bad. So a 5 email text course, and these emails are basically just. So it's like kind of like a lead magnet in a way, right?
It is.
Okay.
It's a more high quality lead magnet versus a PDF that sits in your downloads that you haven't opened ever, right? Think about how many lead magnets are like, I'll send you the PDF with the XYZ, and like you look at it, open it, you exit it.
Yeah.
Versus 5 days of continued education that has an easy CTA. Like for you, is it book a call with you guys to do something? So you'd have a CTA, fill out an application, book a call, and then the ghostwriter would come to you and say, okay, I'm going to make it so whatever the main objections or pain points or problems that someone would prevent them from booking a call with you. And I'd handle that. So they're not
in the copy, basically.
In the copy, exactly. So they're not social media ghostwriters. They go, I'm going to help you grow your business. It happens to be that I'm going to write to help you do that. And that's the key differentiation.
That makes a lot of sense, actually, because now you're giving them a new like potential nurturing sequence.
Correct.
To add to their distribution channel. They don't have to really have to make any new content themselves. So it's no time on their hands. And you're like keeping it with conversions in mind. So it's going to make them money.
Exactly.
So that justifies them paying you.
It's not generating attention. It's generating conversion.
Wow.
Like no one needs more attention. They need better conversion of that attention.
That's really insightful, dude. I actually am like immediately thinking
we should get you a ghostwriter. That's the thing. And so
I need that.
Imagine the way we educate people in our premium ghostwriting academy is how to have the conversation I just had with you.
Yeah.
And so they would reach out to you and it's not, yo, man, like if I could generate you 25 qualified leads, like would you be totally opposed to that? Like all these trash cold DMs that I get hundreds of. It's
so
like,
many.
It's no, I'm going to go to your website. I'm going to make a Loom video educating you on what I would do, or not even what I would do, but what I think would be good for your business. And then if you want my help, let's go for it. And because it's conversion focused, we teach them to sell it for $5,000 because $5,000 for tweets, it's hard to make that connection.
That's one client for me.
Right. $5,000 for hey, I'll get you one client on this and this is going to work for you forever for the rest of your life. Great.
$5,000 would be the easiest yes of my life.
That's the thing. And so we teach them how to do that.
So emails. I do want to say the free course, is there like could you give me real quickly, like what the general topic of each email would be? If it's like from a psychology perspective, an objection perspective.
So we talk about 3 or 4 different kinds. You can do 5 biggest mistakes. So the 5 biggest mistakes that creators who want to start a SaaS end up making.
Gotcha.
Avoid these, whatever. You could do a crash course. And here's a 5-day crash course in all the different ways that a SaaS could help you monetize, or the 5 different types of SaaS.
So it's like one theme.
Yes, one theme.
And then, okay, and then in there you're like strategically like breaking the objections that they're going to have. And then
exactly.
basically it says each one have a call to action, or do you wait till the 5th one?
So you can do a couple things, right? You can put a CTA at the end and then have like a hard CTA of, hey, I just emailed you for 5 days, provided you value. Here's how I can actually help you. So we use like a soft PS at the bottom of regular email courses. And then it's usually 5-day email course and then 3-day what we call FOMO squeeze, which is fear of missing out. It's like value for 5 days. And then, hey, book a call. Let's do this.
Just sales email, sales email,
exactly. Because at the end of the day, like most people, the trust will be built within that first 5 days if they're going to work with you or not. So you might as well capitalize on that attention. Okay. And then we'll put them in a long-term nurture sequence. But you can see how all of the different parts of that funnel are all things one ghostwriter could help you with. And so that's what we teach is like get in there with an email course and then say, okay, your new problem is you need a better FOMO bridge. You need a better long-term nurturing sequence. You need a better pre-call qualification or pre-call like value testimonial sequence, all of those. And you as a business owner go, you're right. I do need all those. Great. Now I'm paying you $5,000 a month and you're on retainer.
Yes. Okay. That makes sense. So they get in with the first one and then we need to test a million different offers, test the verbiage.
It's way easier to get someone to tell you, hey, I'll pay you $5,000 for this project and then get them on a retainer versus people who try to pitch you a retainer from the beginning. It's like, 100%. I don't even know if I like you. Let's go on a date first.
Exactly.
And then we could date long-term.
You want your foot in the door.
Exactly.
And once you prove yourself, they'll keep working with you.
Exactly.
Because email is like 30% of all businesses' revenue at this point. So
easily. Right. And we kind of eat our own dog food with this. So all 4 of our businesses, the lead generation is an email course. So our SaaS, our paid newsletter, our group coaching, and our digital product all start with a 5-day email course that educates them on and builds a lot of trust from the beginning.
we were literally talking last night. Our lead magnet is like an hour-long free training video. And we literally were looking at the Vimeo views. We got like tens of thousands of emails from it. Less than 10% of people even watched.
Even opened it, which means about
50% fell off in the first minute.
Versus an email course, you're talking 60% open rates on the whole thing, right? So think about how much more, and it's build it once and it works for you forever. So the one with Ship 30, our main like beginner writing course, we've not touched in 2 years. And right now, there are probably 2,000 people getting sent that 5-day email course who are building trust with me while I film this podcast.
Damn. I'm calling my partner right after this. Daniel Fazio kind of mentioned something similar, but the way you're like making it like a concrete, like actual course perspective from the person signing up makes a lot of sense to me. Basically, you have the first 5, then you have those 3 for FOMO. Then do you send people to like a newsletter like that they're subscribed to?
Yeah, it's a long-term nurture sequence, right? So the way it works for us is 5 days, 3-day like captures much of that initial attention as we can, and then 12-week long-term nurture sequence. All 12 of those weeks are some way valuable. This is something that's going to help you do this on your own, but enough information where they go, I actually know what to do now, but I don't know how to do it on my own.
Right.
And so all of our different programs, we don't sell information. We sell implementation, packaging, speed, and outcomes.
Okay. This is really important. So I kind of want you to go a little more deep on that, because people are like scared to share their best ideas on social media, but that is really the point of making yourself look like an authority, showing your expertise, because most people will try to do it themselves, realize how much work it is, and then just hire you because you're the one that they clearly see knows what you're talking about.
Right. So every single thing behind one of our paywalls is in terms of information, is in some way, shape, or form on my social media or in our newsletter. Like if you wanted to spend 100 hours trying to piece all of that together, go for it.
Yeah.
Good luck. Right. And so that's kind of what we're banking on. So there's no downside to putting your best educational content out there for free, because Derek Sivers has a great quote on this. It's if information was all we needed, we'd all be billionaires with perfect apps. Yeah. So all that happens is you give someone all the information of how to do something, and then they sit there and go, dang, I know what to do and I'm still not doing it. Or people take your free stuff and they do a great job with it, and then they go, wow, this was so good. Can I just pay you because I want to thank you in some way? So this is where a lot of people go wrong. It's like, here's a bunch of shitty free content, but the real good stuff is behind the paywall. So I need you to trust me on that with my shitty free stuff, and then hopefully that makes you pay. It's like, no, what if you took all the really good stuff, gave it to them for free, and said, hey, if you actually want me to help you put this into practice, or you want me to go deeper on this, that's what you pay for.
That's so important. I have people come on this podcast and I'll ask them a question, and then sometimes they'll say, I don't want to share that. And then that kind of nullifies everything you shared before, because now it's like, okay, then if you're keeping the good stuff, then everything you shared openly
is not that good.
It's not helpful. So that's very interesting, really important to say. So that's throughout 12 emails. What were the 4 words? Implementation? You said it really fast.
We don't sell information. We sell implementation, packaging, speed, and outcomes. So if you put all that together, implementation, it's information of how to actually put it into practice. Packaging, so all the information is out there, but here it is in a cohesive, linear format.
Yeah, curated. Yeah.
Speed, which is same thing. You're going to jump in and immediately get into this roadmap with no fluff.
Gotcha.
And then outcomes, which is it actually works, right? You put all this into practice, and then you get what you eventually want, rather than trying to do it on your own and you really don't know that you're going to get there.
Okay, so do you guys do the actual setup of like the email automation, or are you specifically finding people who already have like email marketing going and they just plug it in?
Which one?
So like the 5-day free course. Like, are you teaching them like get an active campaign account? Like,
so we show, here's how our Ghostwriting Academy works. You get in and we help you position yourself as a ghostwriter immediately. Then you learn how to position your offer, and the offer is going and doing that free consulting that allows people to understand what you do, why it's valuable, the problem, the ultimate negative consequence of that problem if they don't work with you, et cetera. And I could talk sales psychology all day, but we have them basically target any kind of business in any kind of niche, because until every single website has a 5-day educational email course as its lead magnet, this is not a saturated market. Imagine, and the example we always use, you go to an e-commerce site. Let's say you want to buy a cold plunge, okay? Or you're thinking about buying a cold plunge. what do most email pop-ups on an e-commerce site do? It's like you get to the page and it goes, get 10% off and give us your email. It's like, I don't even know if I want to buy what you have. So X, I don't give you my email. What if it's, okay, someone comes to the Cold Plunge website. What are all the questions someone has? So
how long do I need to be? What's the temperature?
So a 5-day crash course on everything you need to know about buying your first Cold Plunge.
That is so smart.
Who is not going to give you their email for that if they want to get a Cold Plunge? And what are you going to do over those next 5 days? You're going to build trust in the Cold Plunge company and more than likely increase your propensity to purchase. So same thing. So clothing brands could do this, right? 10% off, no thank you. Or get our 5-day spring lookbook, 5 different outfits and how to style them and exactly what to buy. Same exact thing.
They're completely neglecting the nurturing.
Yes.
You can get a 30-second TikTok of someone in a cold plunge, go to their website. What do I do? Why is this important to me? What are the benefits? That's really insightful. Wow. So this is basically what you teach inside your, what's your
Premium Ghostwriting Academy is our flagship. Anyone who wants to basically create their own micro agency of providing this service that likes to write, is interested in business, we think this is the most lucrative way because that's how we stumbled into it. It's like we started, both Cole and I, my business partner, started as ghostwriters as our first way to monetize, then learned through the growth of our other businesses that email courses are the most lucrative way to grow them because we're sitting at $500-600K a month, all with the same lead magnets or same type of lead magnets.
You're using what you're
all
teaching,
generated from organic.
Yeah.
And so we go, of course, we're going to teach this same methodology. Here's our system for doing it. And now you get to go and apply it and go to a totally separate niche and take that, what we've learned, and apply it there.
So how do you articulate this value through a DM, like to people? Like say someone goes through your premium, what is it? Sorry.
Yeah, I say it fast. We call it PGA, Premium Ghostwriting Academy.
PGA, I love acronyms.
Yeah.
Okay, someone goes through PGA. In PGA, what are you teaching them on how to like position themselves to someone in the DM? I'm 100% sold.
Right. So the easiest way to sell anything is current mistake, negative result of that mistake, ultimate negative result of that mistake. Instead, do this, immediate benefit, long-term benefit. So let's use an example, and I'll just riff this off the cuff, right? Right now, you are an e-commerce site who is giving 10% off as their thing. They go to their website, pop open Loom. Hey, company name, love what you're doing. Been following you for X, Y, and Z. Noticed on your website that you're currently offering 10% off as your thing. My guess is you have a low opt-in rate on that website. Problem. Negative result of that problem. As a result, you might be generating a lot of traffic from TikTok, and they come to your website and you're not able to keep that traffic. They come and they go, they don't buy, and not only did they not buy, you don't know anything about them. And as a result, your marketing dollars, you're struggling to see the direct return because really all you're doing is running a brand awareness campaign. So problem, ultimate result. And so as a result, you can just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
You're not seeing the success you want on your marketing.
So simple.
Instead, so bad world, current thing, if I were you, I would implement a 5-day email course. What that's going to do is take some of that TikTok traffic and actually capture it. And so instead of them coming to your website, leaving, they now put their email in. And then once you have their email, I would build this 5-day nurturing campaign that educates them on your product and all the valuable things of it. As a result, you're going to see more return on your marketing dollars, and I can help you do that. It's like so simple.
Yeah, that is like so concise and a clear no-brainer.
Clear no-brainer.
You're actually teaching them something too. Like that is a good lead.
So imagine a Loom that says that versus like the no cap for real. I can get you 20 qualified leads. It's like, no, it's a completely different thing. And
you could pound outreach on that.
You can pound outreach. And the key thing psychologically here is loss aversion is far more important than gain. So if you go to a business owner and say, here's all the money you're leaving on the table because of this mistake, like you are losing money doing this.
It hits your ego a little bit.
You're like, shoot.
Yeah.
Versus, hey, I could help you do more. Versus like if you give the exact same pitch, but just talk benefits first, it's not as valuable. But very simply, mistake, result of that mistake, ultimate negative result. Instead, new world, red pill. Like blue, red, here it is. New way of doing things, benefit, ultimate benefit. And hey, if you want me to do this, I can work for you.
And you're just plugging holes in their business for them, basically, instead of trying to make it bigger, which is much more important for scaling. Wow, dude. That might be one of the best offers I've heard. I'm not gonna lie. Like you sold that so articulately, so like concisely. I'm really
It's
impressed.
like I do it for a living.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I'm demonstrating right here. Okay. So that's kind of like, I don't think there's that much more to it. That it's just that it's beautiful how simple it is. So that is basically, PGA is like your main program that helps you make $600K a month, basically. What is on top of that? How did you guys layer in?
So it actually started, and this kind of connects the full story. So I learned to ghostwrite, recognized that is one of the best ways to get to 10, 15K a month, but not scalable enough. So I made 10 grand in November 2020. And then I abstracted a layer and said, what led to that? Because I was not going to be able to leave my full-time job if I had a side hustle that was still not that scalable. Instead, I said, what was scalable? Well, it was the 30-day writing challenge. So I tweeted out to my 1,000 followers, hey, would anyone be interested in joining a 30-day writing challenge? That was it. Huge response. I wasn't going to make it for free because there would have been 500 people in it and there would have been no accountability. So I said, it's $50 and you get your money back if you complete all 30 days. So here I am, November 2020. I got a spreadsheet up. Everyone who PayPal'd me, $50. And then I'm like tracking everyone writing every day for a month. Got to the end of the month and anyone who wrote every day, I gave them their money back and then said, or you could roll it forward into a future cohort. But what I did was hold one-on-one interviews with every single person who went through and figured out what did they like, what did they dislike, how could this have been better. Then I held one more beta cohort, same thing. And then in January 2021, I launched it leading up into that for $99 and you didn't get your money back. And then I found some success going viral on Twitter going into the new year. And it's just a great marketing angle of learning to write and starting the new year, writing every day for 30 days. So that's what I did. And that made about 30 grand, 30 or 40 going into that first cohort.
Nice.
So I said, okay, ghostwriting was great. Allowed me to understand how this world worked, got me a little bit of income. I still had a full-time job. Instead of going ghostwriting, I want to scale with a digital product route. So this is now 2021, and I made 30 grand from that and realized I was going to be able to work from home for most of the year. So I continued to work my full-time job for that entire year until I said I would quit when my income from my side hustle doubled my full-time job. Okay. So not got half, but totally double. I was like the most risk-averse person in the world.
Interesting.
So I spent all of 2021 scaling Ship 30 for 30. So that's our premier or like our primary beginners want to start writing online program. It's a 30-day writing challenge where you learn all of the fundamentals, headlines, hooks, social media writing, idea generation, formatting, repurposing, lean writing, all of that. And that was the whole business all of 2021. And then the first year, in 21, we did a little over $1 million. So it was like one offer, one channel.
Wow.
Just fast. Right. So from 0 to 1 in that first year.
That's really
all
good.
While I was working full time
at BlackRock.
Which nicely meant, okay, I doubled my income, but that was the most intense work period of my entire life. My mom, part of this story was she was diagnosed with stage 4 ovarian cancer when I was a senior in college.
It's brutal.
Huge success on surgery. One of the biggest miracles in terms of this hospital. She's doing great today. So I'll preface that. Yeah, she's doing amazing today, which is 5 years, which is almost unheard of. I was unable to be her primary caretaker during 2019 when I went to work at BlackRock. Part of that in my head was like, I'm working this job so I can make a little bit of money because I eventually want to be able to take care of her. She was re-diagnosed in November of 2020, right when I launched Ship 30. So all of 2021, I'm working a full-time job. I'm spinning up the side hustle so I know I never have to get taken back into the office because now I was my mom's primary caretaker and I was not going to let that slip away from me.
You mean in person?
In person.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Yeah, so I was living in the house with her and that was it. I would drive her to chemo, take her home, and I don't talk too much about that as kind of the personal part of my story, but that was the real motivation to scale Ship 30 to what it became that year because I knew there was going to come a point where they try to take us back into the office. Yeah. And I was not going to leave my mom in that point.
Very good motivator.
So we got to January 22. We had another huge successful launch into the end of the year. The message from corporate gods came to me and said, hey, you got to be back in the office in February. I said, there's just no way. Quit. And that was a little over 2 years ago. Moved to Miami in May, which is the same, not this baller pad, but this same building. And then have been building continued to scale Ship 30 through 2022, and then started PGA in 2023 when we recognized we wanted another type of business to start.
Okay. So your newsletter is still like the first thing they go to. Yeah. Mm-hmm. And then you have a 5 email free course, I assume. Yeah. And then they go to what's the next step?
So all 4 offers right now. It first was Ship 30. Ship 30 was 5-day email course to newsletter, marketing, join the next cohort.
Gotcha.
Then we started Typeshare. Typeshare is a SaaS that helps beginners start writing on all social platforms.
Gotcha.
So idea generation, hooks, headlines, templates, AI for quick idea generation formatting, all that's built in. We build that into the curriculum of Ship 30. So we teach to write the type of writing that we want you to do, use Typeshare. It's $20 a month, but we give it for free for the first month. Yeah. Same lead magnet there. Even though a lot of the traffic comes from Ship 30, we still have a 5-day email course. So those were the first 2. Then we spun up Premium Ghostwriting Academy a year ago, so it was around April of 2023. That is a group coaching offer that is sold via sales call, which is higher ticket.
High ticket, okay.
Exactly.
So PGA is the high ticket.
High ticket group coaching. Gotcha. Yeah. So student success manager, one-on-one for every single student. We have 5 different live clinics a week across tech, copywriting, niche and mindset, sales and outreach, all that. And then 1 hot seat with me and Cole. Yeah. And then the last one is Write with AI. It's a paid newsletter that generates around $40 to $50K a month, and it's $20 subscription. And that is via Substack. So I've got the beautiful part of my last 2 years is I have gotten to learn at a basic level how to run 5 different types of businesses: an agency, solo agency service, which was my ghostwriting, a cohort-based course / digital product, Ship 30, group coaching, which is PGA, paid newsletter, which is Write with AI, and SaaS. And so I'm by no means an expert in any of them, but I know a lot more today than I did 2 years ago.
That's really incredible that you have a full value ladder in less than 2 years.
Trying to get it all figured out. It might look like it's all put together on the surface, but I still feel like I'm putting fires out.
Yeah, it's always you build as you go.
Right.
That makes sense. Okay, so why is it Ship 30? Is that still cohort based?
So we just transitioned it from cohort based. We're about to relaunch it as self-paced.
Okay.
So we found that the only problem with cohort based is the marketing cycle is quarterly, rather than it could be weekly if we started it almost every week.
Yeah.
The bottleneck though, was we were giving live sessions. Yeah. So I actually spent this morning 2.5 hours recording the curriculum videos.
Oh, nice.
Before I came over here. And so that's going to transition to always on, which actually is better for students because we found that during cohorts, if you missed a day, you got like behind and you had to catch up. And that, versus a 30-day challenge where it's all self-paced. It's if you miss a day, all we do is coach you to come back the next day.
Gotcha.
So just don't miss twice, don't fall off. And then it's easier to have more people join, which our mission is to help 1 million people start writing online. So we can do that. The easiest or the most sustainable way will be self-paced.
Gotcha. That makes a lot of sense. That does seem like a pressure thing. If everyone's there showing up, you miss one day.
Exactly.
It kind of puts like this social pressure on you.
Which is like a blessing and a curse, right? It works because it helps a lot of people.
Accountability.
But then we found that you either did all 30 or you failed.
Yeah.
We didn't like that. So it's how can we make more people succeed? It's taking the pressure off of doing it every single day.
Right. So are you doing all this alone or do you have a partner?
No, I partnered with Nicholas Cole, who I think is the most talented writer on the planet. And he's really the product creator around a lot of the things we do. But it goes back to all the opportunities that writing unlocked for me. The person I ghost wrote for connected us via cold email in November 2020. Wow. Kind of all this happened around the same time and said, the subject line is connecting Dickie and Cole. And then the copy is one sentence. It goes, not sure why, but I think you two should know each other. And that's it. So we got on a call and Cole had just written a book called The Art and Business of Online Writing while I was starting Ship 30. So he saw, wow, this framing of a 30-day challenge would work perfectly with what I have on the educational side. And I knew I'd only been writing online for a year. He'd been writing online for 10. So I said, look, if I'm going to scale this thing beyond just being an accountability group and actually have education, I need you to come in. So we partnered right away in January 21 and have been working together on all 4 businesses ever since.
So you did that $1 million year by yourself and then you brought him on?
No, no. $1 million year was with him.
Okay, gotcha.
So we partnered in January 2021. So Ship 30, just like the beta cohort of me in the spreadsheet with PayPal, like sending money back and forth, all the initial emails, all the initial Slack setup. That was me. And then partnered with him in 21.
Okay, cool. So I guess I always like to ask people what are all the software tools you use to run these businesses?
Okay, so I had a long post on this. Tons. I'd say the hardest working employee we have is Zapier in terms of connecting everything, because we found we have a team of about 14 now, but that could easily be 25 if we did not use the type of automation and operations that we use. So that's, I'd say, the biggest one, but most of it's kind of boring. Like we use Slack to communicate any specific things you'd want to know, like CRM, we use Airtable.
Just everything you use.
Zoom. What else? For social media writing, we organize all our SOPs in Notion. We use TypeShare for all of our publishing.
Nice.
A little bit of Hypefury too for scheduling some tweets, because TypeShare doesn't do that. What else? Deadline funnel, if we're making an offer for something that we want to put $100 discount.
I've never heard of that deadline funnel.
It's basically a way to offer an expiring discount on a product, varying by the person receiving the email. So you set it up where someone enters the sequence. We use this on our FOMO bridge for our main Ship 30 course. It's, hey, you just took our email course. If you want to take action now over the next 5 days, here's a $100 discount. And so that can be working today, and then also start in 3 days for someone else, and then still show them all the same discount.
And it actually expires. Unlike the ClickFunnels.
Exactly.
Fake
right. So
countdown,
it's like, 4 days till like the Matrix gets you and the world ends. It's like, yeah, okay. No, it actually does expire, because it then sends them to a new page that does not have the discount included.
Is that an integration on like your website builder, or is that what you're building?
We use ConvertKit for all of our email. Cool. So we use ConvertKit to run our business email. We run our paid newsletters on Substack.
Gotcha.
And I guess that's a couple other ones. Like I break down the business by marketing, sales, operations, and like video content. So marketing, anything else we use? Not really. I mean, Card to host our landing page for the email courses. The beautiful thing is, if you go to all four, if you go to premiumghostwritingblueprint.com, startwritingonline.com, typeshare.com, and startwritingwithai.com, they're all for the same exact card template for the email course. Nice. And it's different colors.
Yeah.
And like a little bit different copy, but it's like, spin that up.
So is Card just like, why would you not use a ConvertKit landing page? Just cards.
So most things we use in our business right now was me in the beginning going best, quick, cheap landing page builder. And it was like card, click, use, So most things are like a legacy. Like a funny example. We used to have all of our calls as a team on Friday afternoon at 12, 1, and 2. And we stopped doing that like 2 months ago, because all it would do is like stress us out, because we would end up having, if you were traveling on Friday, you have to move the meetings. And if you came up with a bunch of new ideas, you'd like open a bunch of loops into the weekend.
Right in the middle of your day, yeah.
Why do we do this? Because when I was working at BlackRock, there was one rule they had around scheduling meetings, and it was after Friday at noon, you were not allowed to schedule a meeting. So I would have all the live calls, at that time. It would be Friday at noon. It's like I would be free to start, because the last thing I ever wanted to do was be on a coaching call or a live call and have my boss call me and be like, I'm on, I got to start. So that was
your window.
Most of the things we have are legacy pieces that were part of the scrappy start that we're still kind of working our way through.
It's funny that you need to go back and like kind of like delete some things.
Yeah, seriously. Yeah. It worked to get us here. And that's a framework we think about all the time, is like what got us here won't get us there.
Interesting. And then Zapier is literally how you connect all these.
So we host, like more software is coming to me. We host our community in school. So we have Google Suite for most things. We have little small things called like Add Event, which is a nice calendar integration, which lets you put like group coaching calls on a separate calendar. Yeah,
you basically, if you have a call at 3, people can click that, add it to their calendar in their time zone.
Exactly. Yeah. We use Samcart for checkout hosting.
What's Samcart?
Samcart, yeah.
For checkout hosting, so when people pay?
Yeah, exactly. And then
you don't use ConvertKits baked in?
No.
Why? What is Samcart, dude? That's better than...
Samcart allows you to create payment plans. It allows you to have better integrations across like different CRMs. You can have easier checkout widgets. Like we use Webflow for one of our... Again, this is a Webflow
people. Yeah.
So we have a Webflow website for the main Ship 30 page. We had like a designer come and do. And that has like a checkout modal that you could only use with Samcart or something like that. But honestly, most pieces of software are like, picture yourself on this island and there's like a pipe that brings you fresh water. And that pipe is everything that's currently working. And we kind of look at it and it's like, don't touch that pipe. Like, just leave that one there, because we don't know what would change, and there's nothing really wrong with it. Let's go like maybe check some other things out, but don't touch that one.
Yeah.
That's most software we use.
There's like small luxuries to have it all in one, but Zapier works perfectly fine.
Exactly.
And
Zapier we look at as digital glue.
Yeah.
So it just connects all, and they should brand that. Like if you're watching this Zapier, you can brand it as that. But that's what it does. It connects all your different pieces.
That's really cool. So that makes a lot of sense. I thought that was very interesting how you were saying that when you were evaluating Card or any of these social or these SaaS companies, you were looking at the pros and cons. Because that is a key distinction I have seen from courses and SaaS companies. People seem to buy courses from people. Like they're not going to look like who is the best person to learn this information from. They'll find someone they like. And then once they like that person, they'll buy from them. Where SaaS, you kind of go like a more high level, like you're going feature for feature. Like you're comparing it much more. I've done both, so I can like see that. So I'm interested with TypeShare. How has that gone for you guys?
TypeShare is a very interesting product. What we have found is if I was going to do it all over again, I might raise money for it. Running a SaaS business is the most difficult business. There's a reason why it's the most lucrative, because it's the most difficult. Recurring revenue, everyone wants recurring revenue until they realize it means recurring work.
Yeah.
So you get someone signed up, and all it is a constant putting out of fires, figuring out. It's difficult. And to be honest, I don't give it my full attention, which means it kind of plateaus. It's met its point around 40 to 50K a month where like churn outpaces new people coming in. And the amount of effort it would take to really, really get that thing going, I couldn't do the other businesses.
Right.
So it's like, that's the problem with SaaS. It's extremely, extremely difficult. And my vision over the long term is more than likely give it more attention, because I think if you look at like what Alex Becker has done with started with info, made it where he was comfortable and had successful businesses there, but said, okay, now the real outcome to get to the next level of wealth will be selling something at a multiple of enterprise value. You got $1 million, but you get 10 more if you sell it. So I think that's a path I'll take over the long term. It's more analytical, like tighter feedback loops. But right now it's just part of the portfolio that we're like, okay, we're going to ship improvement by improvement, but it's not, hey, shut everything else down. Give this thing all of our attention.
Yeah, it's a very good extension of what you're doing. Did you feel like, I have that exact same thought process, that exact same example, Alex Becker watching him. So did you feel like some sort of like pressure to like start a SaaS because it's like, it felt like a glorious shiny thing?
Someone came to us when we were running the original Ship30 and was like, hey, I see you guys. So Ship30 started, the foundation is writing atomic essays. So these are small screenshots where you have a headline and a little bit of body and like a CTA. And you just post a screenshot on Twitter because it worked around the character limits. Now you can write long form, but I still think like one image that gives you the full thing is very, like, it stands out. And so TypeShare really is around publishing those atomic essays. But at the time, we were, the original cohort, we were writing in the Notes app and like screenshotting it, and we would look like we were celebrities issuing like a public apology. So if someone came to us and said, hey, you guys are writing in the Notes app, why don't you use this instead? And it was like super simple, made these beautiful little images of the writing. And it's still the main thing it does. But someone came to us with it. And we, at the time, Ship30 was doing like 20, 30 grand a month. So we were like, sure, we'll do this. And it made the student experience better, but we still haven't fully integrated it into everything we're doing.
So what is the app? It's like you said, it's
a web app that, think about it, is everything you need to start writing online. So everything we educate people on, of templates, not staring at a blank page, generating ideas, formatting, publishing to different platforms. It's all hosted in one spot. So you come on and it's like, all right, what do you want to write about? You enter a topic and it helps you generate a bunch of ideas, outlines those potential ideas for you, and just takes a lot of the, I'm staring at a blank page, I want to start writing, how do I do it? And so we integrate all 30 days of Ship30 into that.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So it's just a better customer experience
exactly.
too. And
exactly.
Okay, cool. And if they want to keep using it, they can. Is there any sort of viral like mechanic or viral loop or something? That's like the hardest part with SaaS.
It is. The only part with it is like, it's very recognizable that it's written via TypeShare. And like, if you're not on a pro plan, we put made with TypeShare at the bottom.
But where would they see that?
On social, when you publish it.
So you are screenshotting like an image.
Yes.
So there is some sort of like viral.
Exactly. You post the image of your writing on Twitter.
Gotcha.
And then it goes, oh, where'd you write this? I wrote this in TypeShare.
And you can just kind of see that right there.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, cool. So there is a little bit. That's good.
Yeah, but again, this is something that I need to develop, or not develop, but dedicate my entire brain power to really make it work.
For sure.
And
but $50K a month is no joke for a SaaS.
It could be so much better. So that's the thing. It's like I look at it and I'm like, oh, wow, it's working with this much brain power. Is the upside for me to go all in on this? I don't think so, because it's more scalable on the others right now until we reach a certain threshold. And so that's the like chess that I'm trying to play in my head of where, because I can only do so much and we can only allocate so much.
And what you're doing is working great right now.
Exactly.
And you're probably much more cash flow positive than a SaaS would be. SaaS is stressful for that reason. Because you don't make the LTV back, and running paid ads is very difficult.
Yeah, but luckily it's still all organic. Our whole business is organic. But we know, like I said, our path to $1 million a month is not organic, because you can't do more organic. You can try, but it's not a lever. So we're trying to crack a little bit of cold paid ads, because that is, okay, this is working.
On what
Click
platform?
these 3 buttons. I'm trying a bunch of different platforms. Okay. So LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and then Facebook Meta. The beautiful thing is, if that works, you click 3 buttons and you start to scale. That's it. Organic is not that. You're still limited by the size of your audience. But I look at paid without organic is sketchy. Organic with paid is rocket fuel. So that's what we're trying to crack here. Is like, we have this tons of trust, hundreds of thousands of views on all of our writing on YouTube, different places. Let's get people just more aware of what we're doing. And I think my hypothesis is the business will double. Just put more eyeballs into everything that we're doing.
That's interesting. Have you started paid yet?
This month.
Okay. What has been like the first month's learnings?
It's hard.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier to get someone to join something that has seen a lot of your stuff versus this is the first time they've seen you.
Everyone's super skeptical.
Exactly.
And we've gotten so good at seeing if something's an ad now. I just think info ads have had bad taste in people's mouths. Yeah. Is the creative, like, that what you guys are struggling with, do you think, at first?
To be honest, I'm just getting a month of data, and I'm gonna look at our cost across everything, because like we're spending like $300 a day. Yeah. Like I'm basically saying I'll burn 10 grand this month
just to learn,
just see what happens. That's like my college education fund. And if we make one sale of our high ticket, like, we're almost there. Yeah. You know, so worst case, there's no downside.
You guys have the value ladder set, so it's pretty safe to go for. Okay, cool. So you said that you could talk about sales psychology all day. That's my favorite. Psychology is like my favorite topic. Are you like baking in like psychology into like your tweets? Like, is that like do you have like that's how I am with my YouTube scripts. Like, it's like we need to hit at least 3 points of like psychology of persuasion.
Interesting.
Out the gate.
I think about writing tweets. One of my favorite tweet templates is just a what, how, why. So it's like, what am I talking about? 3 reasons or 3 steps to do it, and like why you should do it. And that to me hits enough with the psychology. Is
what, how, why. Okay.
So another type of framework that I use is like a 3x3. So I'll go, here's a framework to do X, Y, Z. It's 3 steps and then 3 reasons why you should do it. So I think anything you're selling, you should say how to do it and then why someone should trust you to do that. And so you can do it with like a YouTube of 3 steps to start your SaaS. But before we get into that, why should you start a SaaS in the first place, and sell them on the methodology and then tell them how to do it.
That's like just how you think about Twitter and LinkedIn.
Very simple. It's like, give people information, tell them how to do it, tell them why they should do it, and then you're just going to build trust. Because if you can sell someone on why they should do something, they're bought in on doing it, and then show them how, they're going to love you. But if you just say, here's how to do it, it's like, why should I even do it? Or if you just talk mindset of like, why you should start, it's like, okay, how? And it's the mix of both that really builds long-term reader trust.
Interesting. So have you seen that Twitter has changed over the last 2 years since you started?
Definitely.
Because you have a lot of followers on Twitter.
I have a lot of followers, but I accelerated that in 21 and 22, where I think I'm like almost 400 now, but I think I had 200 at the end of 22. So my growth has been slower, but that's fine. Like,
do you think that that's possible, that you're like hitting the top of people that are interested? Like, do you think you literally, because Twitter doesn't have a ton of accounts that have like 5 million followers.
Yeah, I mean, potentially. My take on it is, I don't look at that follower graph. I think it's a giant vanity metric. Like, you can't deposit followers, likes, retweets, books read, business pipeline. Like, if I see another person talk about the business pipeline of like surveys that have been submitted that they haven't even had any kind of sales call with, and they extrapolate that to like 7 figures a year, I'm like, okay,
all right, bud,
like, let's calm down. Let's calm down here. But that to me is like likes do not generate income, right? I can't remember, what's his name? He says like saying cash, and it's a great.
Is that JK Molina?
Yeah, JK. Yeah, JK.
Yeah. So it is interesting now that we're in like the algorithm era of social media where every piece of content has like its own chance. Has that like changed your is this your, I'm assuming Twitter and LinkedIn are your main acquisition channels? Yeah,
main acquisition channels. And look, if I took that for what it's worth and you just optimize for virality, I'm going to end up on OnlyFans. Like that's the natural end game. If so, you have to be very careful with the beautiful part of you optimize for click-through rate. That's where you're headed. And so you have to have some kind of constraint, right? It's like, okay, I try to write actionable content. Like I'm still working on our pure mission as a company, but I'm pretty sure it's going to be the most actionable writing advice on the internet, because I don't want to sit there and go, it's your mindset. It's like, you just got to believe in the imposter syndrome. It's like, no, it's like here's how to write an effective headline. If you can't get yourself to write, I'm not going to sit here and like really coach you on too much mindset stuff. So as algorithms optimize to show things to more people, I'm inherently going to write less valuable things or less viral things if they're more actionable.
Right.
But if I sit here and talk about mindset, I might attract a bunch of people, but is that going to lead to more dollars in the business? No. So that's how I think about it. It's so like,
sprinkle in a viral post if you can. But.
Every once in a while. Right. Exactly. But again, it's not something I'm super scientific about. I probably could be better with it, but I write what I'm interested in. Period, full stop in a story. And then I repurpose some things that I've written in the past that I'm no longer interested in saying every day, but I have a ton. I mean, I wrote for a year and a half, one thing, how to learn to write, writing habits, writing techniques, copywriting, journaling, everything. I've said enough about that where I internalize it, which means my writing was no longer a vehicle for personal growth. So I repurpose things I've said in the past and then write new things. Right now, as you can maybe tell from this podcast, I want to grow the business. Yeah. That's what I'm interested in. So I could write about that all day. I could talk about that all day. So that's where my mind share is. The best example of psychology being overrated is Daniel Kahneman, who wrote Thinking Fast and Slow. At the end of the book at the beginning of the book, he goes, I've spent the last 40 years researching these cognitive biases, and I still fall for them every day. So it's like, what are you going to do? It's like, you don't need another read about mental models. You need to get in the trenches, try to sell something, iterate on the next time. That's why I learned. Like,
I'm interested though, like, how did you learn? I guess you had to do really deep research reports for like the finance in college. Yeah? No. Like, how did you learn to write?
I learned to write by
writing.
Period, full stop. I read some copywriting books. I read The Boring Letters. I think it's the best writing book on the internet.
What is it?
The Boring Letters by Gary Halbert, legendary copywriter. All it does is show you what good writing looks like. If I was going to summarize my approach to learning things, is I pick something and then I go study the best in the world at it. And I just I follow their path. I'm not a creative roadmap creator. Like, I don't look at something and create new ways of thinking of things. But I think I can learn to execute proven roadmaps faster than anyone. And that's the way I separate what I do from my business partner, where he's very creative, very much, I want to be the one who engineers this way of thinking. I'm like, show me the roadmap. I was a professional speed cuber in 5th grade.
Yeah.
And I did not pick up the Rubik's Cube and just solve it myself the first time. That's not how I go. I went on YouTube, learned it, and then was solving it under 18 seconds in like 3 months.
So would you say your content style is more like synthesizing?
Yes.
You will find like universal truths, information out in the world, kind of combine ideas and then put it into like a concise.
That was my entire newsletter to start. And my writing was mostly studying Gary Halbert, Tim Ferriss, Brene Brown, David Ogilvy, and learning their writing style and writing tips, and then integrating it into my own, where I think I am world-class at inhaling a ton of information, distilling it, and saying, this is the only stuff worth thinking about. And if I look at my long-term writing trajectory, like what I could do for the rest of my life, it's learn things, document what I learned, share them to the people behind me. That's it.
Learn, do, share. Gotcha. So have you tried video platforms?
I have a little bit. So I have a couple, 5,000 or 6,000 subscribers on YouTube. Same thing. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to obsess over it. I started with like 6 videos as a test, was like, wow, this is way harder than I thought. If I really want to go all in on this, I cannot be the CEO of a bunch of different businesses. So right now, my business partner, Cole, is blowing up on YouTube because he's giving it his full attention.
Okay.
Right. He's up to like 15,000 subs. His last couple of videos, you start to see that inflection point a little bit. And I'd love to talk to you about the things you've learned on that, especially with script writing. But I'll test something. Like I made 20 days of Instagram talking head shorts. Was like, I like this. I don't love it. Will I do it forever? Nah. Glad I tried it. I'd way rather get in the trenches in an ad platform right now and go inhale 20 hours of course content on how to run LinkedIn ads. And then knowing that my most interesting content is always when I obsess over something and then talk about what I learned. And so I want to just continue to do that forever.
It's almost like that emotion is felt in the content. That, yeah. With video, it's just kind of, it's probably, I would love to understand your side because I don't do well on Twitter or LinkedIn. But on YouTube, I understand the game.
Interesting.
Short form is not as like boring to me. Like I can't share enough information and layer in the like what I've synthesized. And so I don't like have really much interest in shooting short form, but I love YouTube because I can make a 10 to 15 minute video on like how I ran this business for 9 months and condense it. But video is more like you have to show the psychology principles.
Yes.
Like I spent probably 4 or 5 hours on Airbnb looking for this place just for this background right here. And so like,
well, you did a damn good job.
Yeah. But it's like, that's what matters. Cause the podcast, like there's so many podcasts out there. People need to see immediately, feel like these guys are doing something right. Like that really does matter without it being like a Lambo where it's like scammy, you know? Yeah. So it's like this, like,
we're in Miami, man. It wouldn't be too hard to find like a Lambo setup.
That would be easy. The last guy I had has 30 that I could use. So,
okay.
But
interesting.
Yeah. So the video and then just like layering in the hook and then having those psychology principles in the first 30 seconds, but then delivering.
I'll tell you, video is the fastest feedback loop to see how horrible you are. Because you film one and you watch it back, you're like, what? I thought I look like that? I sound like that? Shit, I better figure this out. And, you know, if you stick to it long enough, the quit rate of YouTube is higher than any other platform.
Oh, yeah.
Way higher than any other platform. Like there are more dead 10 video. I got one of them right here. Right? There are more dead 10 video YouTube channels than any other medium, which means the biggest differentiation is that you're still making videos.
And like, there's opportunities with trends to follow if you want to like actually like try to like play the game for real.
Yeah, but I'm so sick of seeing like, I read 40 books. These will make you rich.
Yeah.
I can't imagine. I don't know. I go back and forth though, because I am someone who sees a roadmap and goes, oh, I could blow up on YouTube with 10 videos just in that exact format. But then it's like, who am I? Am I really only going to make the things that other people have created? I don't know.
See, I have the opposite perspective on Twitter. It's like, how in the world do I stand out on Twitter? It's just words or a picture. Like all I have is words and like people have to really get in there.
But it's
like,
your story. That's the thing.
Yeah.
How do you differentiate? You say, here's what I've done, because then no one can compete with you. And that's the way we talk about it is there's no one out there who has imposter syndrome when they talk about things that they've done. You have imposter syndrome because you're lying.
Yeah.
You're talking about things that you have no expertise in. That's my, anytime someone goes, oh, I feel like an imposter, I'm like, if someone came to you,
you're lying.
That's it though. If someone came to you and asked, hey, how'd you find this Airbnb? You would tell them what you did. You wouldn't get on Twitter and go, here's the ultimate guide to finding a world-class Airbnb. Because you've done it once. You go, I booked this beautiful Airbnb. Here was my process.
And I kind of got lucky.
And one would be imposter syndrome because you'd be like, I can't write about that. The other be, oh yeah, that's what I did. And so I'll just explain it to them.
So with writing, I like script writing was something I just started this year. And I spend so much time just like reordering the words or like second guessing how much I can, like how concise I am. So are you just able to just send it out like emotionlessly?
Like a hook?
Just like a post. Like I don't know, writing has just been a new challenge for me. And so it's like I've always been like a fine writer, but like actually like there's so many ways that you could say the same thing.
Yeah, just to me, I have a couple editing tips that might help you. I always set a timer for how long I'm going to edit something.
Oh, okay.
Because if you don't edit, if you give yourself all day to edit, you'll edit all day. If you edit something for an hour,
that's actually really helpful. Yeah.
Second, edit on a different screen than the one you wrote. So if you're going to write something on your computer, edit it from your phone. Just that slight change is going to give you a different perspective of, oh, okay, cool. I could see a difference here. And then lastly, you probably already do this, but read your writing aloud. So,
I don't.
Okay. So switch to your phone, give it at least a day. So never write and edit at the same time. Come back a day later, pull it up on your phone, read it aloud, and you'll immediately go, okay, that I can see where I'm going to fix it. But then set a 30-minute timer to then go make your edits, because otherwise you'll just do that forever.
Gotcha.
And unless you're writing a book that you want to stand the test of time, the marginal return is not that high to like a slightly better hook.
Interesting.
It's like a 90-10 game. 90% of the benefit will happen in the first 10 minutes.
Yeah, I'm coming to realize everything is writing. Like whether you're doing short form, YouTube, Twitter, LinkedIn, even though they're not written platforms, it is writing at the end of the day.
That's why writing is by far the most lucrative skill you can build in this day and age because of the different number of different ways that you can go apply it. You want to write YouTube scripts, you want to write short form, you want to write long form, you want to start a newsletter, you want to create a landing page for your company. It's all going to start with writing.
All right. Well, I'm sold. Guys, Dickie Bush, where can they find you?
They can go on a couple different places on Twitter, LinkedIn, Dickie Bush. If you want to start writing online, you can go to startwritingonline.com. That'll be our 13,000 word ultimate guide and 5-day email course. If you're interested in ghostwriting, you go to premiumghostwritingblueprint.com and maybe throw these in the description.
Yep.
And that'll be our 5-day email course to help you get started as a ghostwriter.
All right. Well, those will all be down below. Check
Thanks
them
for
out.
having me.
If you guys are sold, dude, thanks for coming on.
Good.